Hi, I'm Simone, and today I'm going to show you how to make a fantasy landscape. These examples are made using scraps of materials like wool and fabric that I had lying around. But if you don't have access to material, then we can do a paper version, which is what I'll show you today. So, to get started, what you'll need some scraps of material, all sorts of colours that you think will represent your background or your fantasy landscape. Nice bright colours, maybe easier to cut them into strips to use, but that's up to you. If you're not using fabric, you can use old packaging materials, like nice colourful paper bags, or you can use old pages from a magazine. They're usually good for selection of colours. For your background, you'll want maybe 2 sheets of A4 plain paper if you've got it, or cardboard, anything you can glue your paper to or fabric to. I've glued together 2 sheets of A4 to make a slightly bigger working space. Apart from the papers, you'll need some scissors. If you're sewing and if you're using materials, you might want some thread and a needle. You'll need glue and maybe a pencil if you're drawing out designs or shapes. So today I'm going to show you how to make a paper version of this landscape. My fantasy landscape is a beach, somewhere nice and sunny, with palm trees, nice soft warm sand. So we're going to do a paper version of that. Like I said, if you glue your 2 sheets of A4 paper, this is just normal printer paper, or your card. I've made it slightly bigger so it's easier to work on. Then I've decided on what colour fabric papers I want to use and cut them into strips. So I've got some nice shades of yellow there for the sand. I've got different shades of blue for the sky and the sea. I've also got a few extra shapes pre-cut, like the parasol. I've already started gluing 2 of the bluish strips onto the paper for the sky. And all you're going to do is use your glue stick and paste down your bits of blue paper. I found that when you cut the paper, it's quite nice to tear it so you have like uneven edges, and it gives quite a nice textured appearance. So as you can see, I've done quite a few of the blue strips. We've got the sky, we've got the sea in place. I'm going to start now with some of the yellow strips for the sand. So just glue your strips on, well, glue the paper first, it's probably easiest, and then apply your strips. Keep overlapping. You can tear some of these extra sections off the side and keep pasting until you reach the bottom. go. We've got most of our sand in place. We'll just fill in some of these smaller gaps. Right, so now we're ready to start adding some detail. And I thought it'd be quite nice to have a parasol, which I've pre-cut. Just found some nice stripy paper, which would be great. So I think the best thing to do is maybe lie your pieces onto the paper until you're happy with the design. So you can't have a sunny beach without some sunshine. Also got a nice little beach towel, possibly put it there, and I found some dark green paper which I've cut into these really narrow fronds for a palm tree, and found some dark brown for the trunk, and begun to stick those sections onto the trunk first to make it a bit easier to apply. So then I'll just go ahead and start gluing these down and these sections too. So when you're happy that you've got everything in position where you want it to be, we'll use some scissors and just neaten up the edges. If you want to, you can even frame your picture if you've got some spare card or paper lying around. Cut around the edges. For inspiration for your fantasy landscape, you could perhaps use a favourite book or story that you have and set it where the story's set, or imagine a landscape for your favourite characters. There we go. Next I'll show you what to do if you were sewing on fabric. If you decided to make your landscape out of material and you fancied sewing some of the elements down instead of just gluing everything, what you need to do is use your needle and thread. Put a small knot in the end of the thread, and from the back push the needle through to the front, and I'll show you how to do a very basic running stitch to hold your shape in place. So put the needle in and bring it out a little way along. Pull it right through, and that's your first stitch, and keep going all around the edge of the shape, in and out. Only do this if you're quite confident using a needle and thread. You should ask for help if you need it. So in and out. If you feel really confident with the needle and thread, you could probably use the stitches to more decorative effects to add even more detail, but that's totally up to you. In and out. Until you finish the shape. So, as you can see, we've got the stitch detail on our fabric landscape. And here's our finished paper landscape. I hope you enjoy having a go.